Okay, let's just get right into it. We've all been there with AI, right? You ask it something simple, and what you get back is, well, it's just junk. Total nonsense. Today, we are going to fix that. We're going to learn how to ask the right way.
I mean, seriously, does this look familiar to you? You ask for something, you think it's straightforward, and you get this. This rambling, useless, sometimes just plain wrong answer. It is so frustrating. But here's the thing. What if the problem isn't actually the AI? What if it's us?
So, there's this fancy term for the solution: prompt engineering. And I know it sounds super technical, but don't let the name scare you off. It has nothing to do with complex code. It's really just the art of asking a question in a way that gets you the right answer the first time. Okay, so let's get practical. Let's dive into tip number 1. This is really the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about, and it all comes down to one simple word: context. Just look at the difference here. On one side, write an email to a client. I mean, that's a total shot in the dark, right? The AI has no idea what to do with that. But look at the better prompt. It tells the AI who it is. You are a healthcare data analyst. It tells it who it's talking to, a hospital administrator, and it tells it exactly what to do. The answer you get back is going to be a million times more useful.
And here's why that works so well. You got to remember, these AI models, they don't have any of your personal context. They don't know your job, they don't know your goals. So when you give it a role and a specific task, you're not just asking a question. It's like you're giving it a temporary brain, specifically for that job.
All right, let's move on to tip number 2. This one is all about stopping those long, rambling answers dead in their tracks. It's time to get super explicit about the format you want. Think about it. You say, summarize this article, and you could get back a giant wall of text. Who has time for that? But now look at the better prompt. It sets clear guardrails, 3 bullet points, each one under 15 words, and a laser focus on financial risks. Now that's an answer you can actually use. It's concise, it's scannable, and it's totally relevant. And you can take this idea and apply it to some really complex stuff. Imagine trying to read through a dense SEC filing. Instead of getting that wall of text, you just ask for a simple table. This literally transforms pages and pages of data into something you can understand in like 5 seconds. So the takeaway here is really simple. AI models are fantastic at following rules, but if you don't give them any rules, they're forced to guess. And that's exactly when they start to ramble. You give it structure, you give it focus. Okay, you ready for the next level? Our next 2 tips are all about managing complexity. We're going to shift from just telling the AI what to do to actually guiding it on how to think. We'll do this first through process and then through perspective. This is a mistake I see people make all the time. We throw these huge, messy problems at the AI. Something like, analyze customer churn for me, and then just hope for the best. That is a recipe for a totally generic, confusing answer. The real key, you have to break it down.
So check this out. What's so smart about this approach is how it builds a logical workflow, one step at a time. First, you ask for the general knowledge. What affects churn? Then you get specific. How does this apply to my data? And finally, you ask how to show it. What visuals should I use? See? Each step is a clean, focused question.
When you do it this way, it completely changes the dynamic. You're not just asking for a single answer anymore. You're basically co-creating a solution with the AI. And that ensures that every single piece of it is tailored perfectly to what you actually need to do. Okay, now for tip 4, and I gotta say, this one is one of my personal favorites. It's all about role-playing. Look at this prompt. You're not just saying, give me feedback on my resume. No. You're commanding the AI to become a hiring manager at a tech company and give you feedback from that specific point of view. This is just so powerful. Why? Because it forces the AI to adopt a persona. It literally stops thinking like a generic know-it-all language model and starts thinking like a nurse or a frustrated customer or, in this case, the exact person whose opinion you're trying to get. The insights you get back are just so much more authentic. And that brings us to our final tip. And listen, this is the one that really separates the good prompters from the great ones. The goal isn't to get a perfect answer on the first try. The real magic happens when you stop thinking of it as a single question and start turning it into a conversation. Okay, here's a little trick that is an absolute game changer. After the AI gives you an answer, tack this on to your next prompt.
You're not just asking for more options. You're telling the AI to critique its own work and then teach you why the other options are better. It's brilliant.
And this is where the real value is. You're not just getting a better answer in that moment. No, by seeing why those other options are better, you're actually training your own brain. You're learning how the machine thinks, which makes you a better prompter for everything else you do.
So look, if you take away just one single thing from all this, let it be this. Prompting isn't magic. There's no secret password. It's just about being clear, being specific, and being intentional with what you're asking. And at the end of the day, that clarity is what separates someone who just knows how to use a tool from a real problem solver. It's not just about knowing the models. It's about knowing how to think. That's the skill that really, truly makes a difference in your career. So if you want to go way deeper into this way of thinking, you should really check out the bootcamp from our friends over at Dallas Data Science Academy. And hey, the next time you open up an AI tool, don't just fire off a question. Take a second and ask yourself, how can I teach this thing to think a little more like me? Thanks for tuning in.